Hello guys, Frankie Forsyth back here with another video, and the topic for today is going to be about why 90 to 95% of men today are simps and they don't even know it. So, to begin, let's talk about what a simp is. And I mean, you can also classify that as kind of a feminine man in the way of like the spirit, like I was talking about in the previous video, because I think there's a lot of confusion about this term right here. I mean, it's a pretty new word. You haven't really heard people use this word in the past. Maybe somebody might say like a simpleton in like older language, but I mean, this is a pretty new age word. So let's talk about some of the characteristics and why this is really bad, and this exacerbates the problem of masculine women today. So, the first thing is the simp is not only female validation, but the simp is addicted to validation in general because the simp is generally insecure. They feel like they're not enough. So they always look for external validation. And here's the thing about external validation: anything external will not solve any internal problems you have. You have to go within yourself to solve internal problems and to feel more secure within yourself. But yeah, the simp is addicted to, I mean, more so female validation. That's the ultimate kind of validation for them. They love to feel like they are wanted by women. They love to feel like women find them attractive. And, you know, a lot of simps are unattractive themselves, so they don't actually experience this, but, you know, they search for fake forms of this, like things like pornography, things like paying women on chat sites and stuff like this, paying for pornography. And that's why OnlyFans is so popular today, because people get like that kind of girlfriend experience, I guess. And all right, so let's move on to the next one. The next point here: the simp sacrifices damn near all principles for pussy. Um, any principles you have as a man, you shouldn't be willing to give that up for something as simple as the vagina of a woman. But, you know, simps do this constantly. And another thing I want to mention: we've all been simps at one point. I've been a simp. I've done simp like things. But the key thing here is we need to kill the simp within us and within other men. We need to correct other men too, because that's how we bring heaven back onto earth. That's how we bring real virtue back, is in correcting ourselves and correcting other men. So the next point is the simp boosts women's ego for validation. You know, the simp might tell a girl that she looks pretty or that she's like doing good at something, when he really doesn't mean that. He just wants like validation or sex or something, which, I mean, sex with a woman that has whore-like tendencies, it's really just validation for yourself and just raises your own pride, which is the capital sin. But it's a topic for another video. I know I say that a lot, but yeah, I have a lot of plans for other videos. Let me know what you guys think, if you guys have any ideas down in the comments. But I mean, the underlying thing with the simp is he is insecure. And, you know, this is a feminine trait, which I discussed in the last video about this symbol right here. We're going to leave that there just because, you know, it looks so pretty. Take me, look, 5 minutes to draw that, but I'm going to leave that there for now. And the next point is the simp is afraid of correction. He's afraid to correct fellow men for their shortcomings. He's afraid, obviously, to correct women, because that's going to mean that women will not be as interested in him, because women are so prideful today that they don't like to be told that they're doing something wrong. So he's afraid of correcting people, afraid of correcting women, men, and yeah. Next point here: the simp spends, well, some of them, not all of them, they spend ridiculous amounts of money on women, which just blows their head up even more. As you can see, we have this picture right here. A woman with a head so big that she might topple over soon. But the simp spends ridiculous amounts of money on women because, women, they like money. And there's nothing wrong with spending money on a woman, or there's nothing wrong with doing these things in moderation. The thing is, the simp, which is 90% of men nowadays, that's a rough estimate, but I think it's pretty accurate. The simp does this in copious amounts, all of these things. They'll spend, I remember this one guy I was working with, someone asked him the one time, he's like, do you ever spend money on women or something? And he's like, yeah. And then the guy said, like, oh, what, $100, $200? He's like, no. And then he's like, he said he spent thousands of dollars. And this is a guy that's like 20 or 21. So it's not like he has a lot of money, you know what I mean? But there are like plenty of famous people, like, like the song Lil Wayne. It's not tricking if you got it, right? No, it is tricking. No, you're still a simp. And, the women will take the money and they might have sex with you, but do they ultimately respect you? Probably not. So the next point, the simp is always in a relationship if he's attractive enough to be in a relationship. But if he's not attractive enough, he'll always want to be in a relationship, or always want to have, that, going back to that female validation, because he always needs to have that woman right next to him to validate him all the time. Because this is the next point right here. Society has told the simp, and the simp still believes this. This is the whole idea right here. Society told men their value stems from their ability to reproduce. And this is not the case. I mean, it is a very great accomplishment for a man to reproduce and to instill the values in their son or their daughters where they may have come short in their life, and pass that wisdom on, which is honestly not what a lot of people are doing today. There's a lot of children having children nowadays. People are not mature and they're having kids. But as we can see here, I mean, Jesus didn't have any kids. The Buddha, Isaac Newton. I mean, these are just 3 names I came up with in 10 seconds. I mean, I didn't do any research or anything, but I don't think Nikola Tesla had any kids either. There's many philosophers that didn't have any kids. Your value as a man doesn't stem just from your ability to reproduce and have children. There's a lot more that you can offer the world as a man. Wisdom, innovation, a whole list of things. But getting on, after I just want to discuss that right there, getting on to the last point of what a simp is and the simp's tendencies. The simp is usually obsessed with materialism because that is what attracts the kind of woman that the simp is after. The simp is after a woman who's going to validate them, is going to use them, and stay there. It's kind of like a parasitic relationship, really. They both benefit off of each other, but it's all for fleeting emotions. The simp wants the validation. Obviously, women always want validation, but they also want like money and things like this, status. So the simp is usually obsessed with materialism. You'll always see them taking care of their looks, which, like I'm saying, there's nothing wrong with taking care of your looks as a man, but they go over the top. Like, they get all kinds of crazy like designs in their hair. Maybe they might get like pedicures or manicures on their nails and stuff. They're always putting lotion and stuff on their skin. It's very feminine behavior. But yeah, they're usually obsessed with materialism, usually obsessed with getting things like money to give to women and say, oh, here, I have this, give me some validation, or give me some pussy or something like that. So moving on to the next point, the simp needs to be eradicated. I put the death sign here. The simp needs to be banished. The simp needs to be eradicated, exiled. We need to get rid of this energy in men, because this is what ultimately makes and like I said before, exacerbates this masculinity in women, because it just blows women's pride up, blows their head up, their ego, and that's why they feel like they are above men, because I mean, men literally put them on a pedestal above them, like they look up to them and they beg for their validation, like it's like they're looking up to their queen or something. So yeah. So the next point I want to go over is, you need to, in today's world, you need to be the change that you want to see. And a lot of people, or a lot of men, they want to blame women for the things, which, I mean, I kind of went over some of those stuff in the last video. But you need to be the change that you want to see in the world. You need to have the virtue. You need to be able to stop doing all of this shit in copious amounts. You need to stop worshiping women and worshiping their validation and their acceptance, and the acceptance of basically everybody, and conforming to groupthink, all of this kind of stuff you need to stop doing. You need to have your own values. You need to have actually, what's the word I'm looking for, like godly virtues that you stand on, and principles you won't sacrifice for simple things like validation from people. You need to stand on those and hold those close to your heart. But let me move over here so we can see this side of the board. Now, the reason I said that there's 90% of men that are 90% of men are simps nowadays, and they don't know it. That's a key factor in this, because there's a lot of men that they don't look like simps on the outside at all. They don't look like simps at all. And like I said, everybody has some simp tendencies. Some men are very lustful. Some are very, like I said, they like female validation. Some like to spend money on women. Some like to have multiple women all the time, and because they always need a woman around. Some like to have woman friends, like again, because they always need to have a woman around. But yeah, a few examples of this. Again, I just came up with you can find probably countless examples if you really took your time. But I mean, I didn't do any research, but these are just 3 that I just pulled out of the back of my head. These are 3 ironic examples of men that are very masculine on the outside, but their mentality and their mindset lacks the wisdom, the wisdom and the experience and the introspection, conscientiousness, integrity. These things they lack, which ends up causing them to be simps. The first one is Larry Wheels. If you know who Larry Wheels is, very strong power lifter, very strong. The reason I put him in here, and the reason that's the first name that came into my mind, he's admitted that he's severely addicted to porn and spending money on women online. He said he would literally spend every last dollar that he had when he was done paying his his needs, the rent, food, stuff like that. He would spend all the rest of the money on cam models, trying to, I don't know, get them to squirt or whatever. I don't know what they do in those chat rooms, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what he does nowadays, but he has a wife, and you can clearly see that his wife is not faithful. And like I said, the simp is afraid of correcting that. So, because they're afraid of losing that validation from that woman. But yeah, that's the first example. I don't really know where Larry Wheels is at nowadays, but that's his own battle. Like I said, we have to battle this within ourselves and correct other men. You can't be afraid of this. When you're afraid of correcting people, that's when things really get out of hand, like we see today. Everybody's afraid of correcting people. Everybody wants to be politically correct. And that's why there's so much wrong with the world today. And especially things like this, like dating and with women and stuff. The next example is Dan Bilzerian. I mean, like I said, usually obsessed with materialism. I'm pretty sure this guy lied about how he made all of his money. He said he made it in poker or something. It's a pretty agreed upon fact that we think that he got it from his father or whatever. And he uses all this money to, have a bunch of women around him all the time, like at least 10 women or something. This is what I mean. They're addicted to female validate and female like energy. Like they love to have this energy around them. And I mean, you can call me like whatever you want for like if you like these guys or you look up to these guys for some reason. If you look up to these, and I mean, this one is really unfortunate, but we'll get to that in a second. Like if you look up to these guys and you want to bash me or whatever, you can do that in the comments if you want to. But I mean, it's pretty obvious that these guys fall under that category of having an outer exterior of being an alpha male and having the muscles, having the women, having the money, having the yachts and everything, but really failing to win that internal battle within themselves and having, what's the word? Temperance. Having the correct temperance for this. And this last one, this is kind of sad. This is kind of recent news, but Ilya Taporia, as you know, he had a wife, and it was pretty unfortunate what happened with him with his wife. Which this one can either go either way because we really don't know too much about that. But I mean, this guy is phenomenal MMA fighter. Could kill like 99% of the men on this planet, me included. That's the thing, me included. I'm not here to pretend like I'm better than these people in their domains. Larry Wheels is much stronger than me. Dan Bilzerian has much more women than me. Ilya Tuporia could kill me with his bare hands if he wanted to. But the thing is, that's the thing. You have to have this humility about yourself so you can correct other people in their shortcomings. And like I said, this one is unfortunate because I really like Ilya and I like to watch him fight. But, we have, like I said, we have to fight. It's not about fighting other men all the time. It's about fighting the man inside yourself, the boy inside yourself, the simp inside yourself that wants to always keep validation from maybe one woman or a bunch of women, whatever it may be. But a good quote for this instance right here is a quote from Sun Tzu, and it says, "The man who conquers other men is strong, and the man who conquers himself is mighty." So think a little bit about that and do some introspection. Like I said, everything that you want to solve internally needs to be done and solved internally. You can't rely on external things to solve your own internal problems. And what I want to end off with is a Bible quote about wisdom, and essentially it says that wisdom, I don't have the exact it's in Ecclesiastes, but essentially it says that wisdom is above all else. Wisdom is above strength. Wisdom is the ultimate power. And this is, as you can see, this is why, because wisdom, that's another video I want to do about, maybe, because I don't actually know the answer to this, but the etymology of the word wisdom. Like, wisdom, kind of like kingdom, is the wise, like the possession of the wise, kind of like the kingdom is the possession of the king, right? And this word is also connected to the wizard, which is, it's kind of like you have a lot of power from wisdom because you can create things in the world. You can, like, if you have wisdom about this stuff that I'm telling you guys right now, and we can actually bring this into fruition and actually kill the simp and the boy inside yourself, this is how you solve major problems in the world, like the problems you see with women nowadays and dating. And you solve not this problem just for yourself, but all for your fellow men. And this is, like I said before, this is how you truly bring heaven down to earth, and you live happily. All right, that's it for this video, though, guys. Let me know if you guys have any suggestions for anything else. Let me know if you guys like the content, if I could do anything differently. Like the video, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.